Hello, and welcome to Science While Sleep. Tonight, we're going to float gently into the quiet rhythm of time itself. Not the kind of time that chases you with deadlines, alarm clocks, or unanswered emails, but the soft, patient time that drifts through space like a feather on a still pond. Perfect bedtime material. I should warn you, though, this story might be just a little too interesting. If it keeps you awake, I apologize. But if you do end up wide-eyed at 3 in the morning, imagining the seconds of your life stretching gently above the curve of Earth, at least you'll have a beautiful thought to keep you company. Before we begin, I invite you to settle in. Maybe you're already curled up in bed, or resting with a cup of tea nearby, or perhaps listening with your eyes closed as the day slows down. Take a deep breath. Feel your body sink into wherever you are. Let the world's noise grow distant. This little corner of the cosmos is just for you. Now, let's begin. The stars above you seem quieter now. Not because they've dimmed, but because you've started listening differently. You know, somewhere in that still sky, something once bright, became something dark. A black hole is not a beginning. It's an ending. But not just any ending, it's the kind that transforms everything that came before it. To understand where black holes come from, you have to think about stars. Not the little dots you see when you look up, but the real ones, giant, blazing spheres of fire. Massive, ancient furnaces that have been burning for millions, sometimes billions of years. A star is a balance. At its core, a star is pushing out, constantly. Its heat and energy, born from nuclear reactions, push against the force of its own gravity trying to pull it inward. It's like two hands holding each other in a quiet tug-of-war. For most of its life, the star holds steady. It shines. It warms nearby planets. It makes light you can see from across space. But stars don't last forever. Eventually, the fuel runs out. Imagine a fire that slowly burns through its last log. The heat begins to fade. And when that happens in a star, gravity starts to win. With no pressure left to fight back, the star begins to collapse. It folds in on itself. Not slowly, but all at once, its outer layers crash inward, its core shrinks tighter and tighter. The atoms inside it are crushed together. The space between particles disappears. And then, something strange happens. For stars that are big enough, this collapse doesn't stop. It keeps going until the entire core of the star becomes smaller than a city, yet heavier than several suns. And at that point, something truly strange is born. A black hole. No light can escape it. No signal, no heat, no matter. Just silence. A star that once lit up its corner of the galaxy is now invisible. But in a way, it's not really gone. It's changed. The matter is still there, just compacted beyond what the mind can easily imagine. It hasn't been erased. It's been transformed. Not all stars become black holes. Some fade into white dwarfs, quiet embers in the dark. Others explode in bright supernovas, spreading heavy elements across space. But the biggest stars, the real giants, they go a different way. They collapse into these dense, dark points. Not because they want to, but because the universe is made that way. Because gravity is patient and powerful. You might wonder how anything could be that strong. Strong enough to crush space. To trap time. to hold even light itself in place. But that's what makes black holes so mysterious. They are made from the same stars that warmed planets, and now they pull everything inward, silently. And still, something beautiful remains. Even in this ending. Because black holes don't just end things, they create space for questions. For wondering. For imagining what else could be. Now, as you lie there, drifting with the rhythm of your breath, you begin to picture it. A star collapsing, folding like silk into the darkness. And the moment it vanishes, the universe grows a little stranger. But what does the edge of a black hole really look like? What happens at the very border, the place where light gives up and falls in? That's where we go next. To the line between out here and in there. You are floating now. Not through a sky, not through clouds, but through something deeper. Thicker. Quieter. A silence so wide, it feels like it stretches forever. In front of you, there's nothing. And yet, it feels like everything is there, just hidden. A round, dark shadow rests in the center of space. A circle that isn't quite a thing, it's the edge of a black hole. The place where outside ends. This edge has a name. The event horizon. But that's just a word. A soft title for something much harder to understand. To your mind, it's easier to imagine it like this. A doorway you can walk through, but never walk back out of. You might be tempted to picture it as a surface, like a wall or a shell, but there's nothing solid here. The event horizon isn't made of stuff. It's just a boundary. A line in space. Outside this line, light can still escape. Inside it, light cannot. And since we see things because of light, anything that crosses this border disappears from view. Forever. Imagine tossing a pebble into a perfectly still pond. Usually, you'd hear the plop. You'd see the ripples. But now imagine tossing that same pebble into a black hole's event horizon. There's no splash. No sound. No ripple. The moment it passes the horizon, it vanishes. As if it was never there at all. But here's where it gets even stranger. To you, standing far away and watching, nothing ever seems to actually fall in. That pebble? It slows down. It dims. Time stretches. It takes longer and longer to fall. And right as it reaches the edge, it freezes. Forever stuck in that moment, hovering at the border. But to the pebble itself, if it had a little mind, the fall feels smooth and quick. It doesn't feel time slowing. It simply crosses the edge, and keeps going inward. This is the strange thing about black holes. They don't just mess with space. They bend time. And so the event horizon becomes more than a place, it becomes a mystery. A one-way door. Once something crosses it, all the usual rules start to fade. No signals can come back. No light. No sound. It's like a cosmic whisper that dies in the dark. And yet, nothing dramatic happens at the horizon itself. No fireworks. No sudden crash. If you were falling in, your body wouldn't feel a bump. You might not even realize you've passed the point of no return. And yet, it has happened. The fall cannot be undone. You could be light itself, fast and bright and pure. But even light cannot escape once it crosses that line. And so here you are, hovering just outside the edge. Imagining what's inside. The blackness looks calm. Peaceful. But it's not empty. There's weight in there. History. Stars crushed into silence. Planets. Dust. Maybe even light that tried, long ago, to fight its way out. And now you wonder. What's it like inside that line? What happens after the fall? The event horizon doesn't answer. It keeps its secrets close. It only lets things in, not out. As you drift further into sleep, your breath slows with the rhythm of space. And your mind steps toward that quiet question. What happens when you cross over? You are not falling anymore. You are being drawn. Drawn like silk pulled from a cocoon, like syrup stretching from a spoon, slow and unbroken. Gravity is no longer a quiet tug, it's become a sculptor, reshaping your body in ways no human mind was ever built to feel. And yet, you feel no pain. Only the sensation of stretching, lengthening, surrendering. Your head is still here, your feet far below. But distance has become a strange thing. Time and space are warping around you like ripples in water. You are no longer a person falling, you are becoming a thread. This is spaghettification. The word might make you smile softly in the dark. It sounds like something out of a bedtime story, and in a way, it is. But behind the name is something very real. A gentle, unstoppable truth. Near a black hole, gravity isn't even. The closer parts of you feel more pull than the farther ones. And over time, that difference stretches you. It's not just your body being pulled, it's space itself. You are part of space now. A slow strand woven into the fabric of something deeper. Your arms drift behind you, then follow the stretch. Your legs narrow. Even your thoughts seem to thin, as if your mind is being unwound like yarn. Yet through all of it, you remain calm. You are the dreamer, still watching the dream. You wonder. You are falling now. Not fast, not with fear. It's a slow fall, gentle, like sinking into a warm bath or drifting down through fog. The black hole doesn't pull you like a hand yanking a thread. It welcomes you. Quietly. Patiently. As if it has all the time in the universe. And perhaps, it does. Your body is calm. Your thoughts are soft. There's no wind here. No noise. No pressure. Only the deep pull, the silent motion forward. And still, part of you watches, wondering. What will happen next? At first, nothing strange occurs. The stars are still above you. The edge, the event horizon, is behind you now, crossed without ceremony. You didn't even notice when it happened. No warning. No shift in feeling. Just like that, you were inside. But time begins to behave differently here. To someone far away, watching from a safe distance, you appear frozen at the edge. Paused forever. They would never see you go in. But to you, everything flows forward. Each second, soft and steady. The blackness ahead grows larger, deeper. It no longer feels like a space, it feels like a direction. Like you are falling into something, even if you can't name it yet. Then something curious begins to happen. Your feet, ever so slightly, begin to stretch ahead of your head. Not painfully. Not all at once, Just a quiet tug, like the space around you is uneven. Because it is. This is gravity's sharpest trick. Near a black hole, gravity pulls harder and harder with each inch. Your feet are closer, so they fall just a bit faster than your head. And over time, your body stretches. This is called spaghettification. A strange, almost silly name for something so quiet and profound. You become long, like a thread, drawn out by the hole's pull. Not crushed, not smashed. Just thinned. Like space itself is melting you into a line. But this isn't pain. Not here. This is the dream version of falling. Soft. Surreal. Like becoming part of something else. And all around you, darkness. Not the darkness of a room. Not the night sky you've known. This is a different kind of dark. A velvet so deep, even your thoughts begin to echo. You feel the weight of stars behind you. The quiet hum of the universe, fading as you fall. There are no landmarks. No direction. Just the sense of inward. Of deeper. You might wonder now. Will I reach the center? Will I find the truth inside? The truth is, no one knows. No ship has returned. No signal has escaped. Not even light can share the secret of the black hole's heart. All we have are questions. And you, dear traveler, are inside one now. Still falling. Still sinking. And just before your thoughts grow dim, before your dream settles into stillness, a final whisper floats across your mind. What lies at the very center of a black hole? We call it the singularity. And that's where your journey goes next. If I become a thread, how long do I stretch? When do I stop? The answer is strange. You stretch until there's nothing left to stretch. Until even atoms begin to lose their shape. Until the idea of you no longer fits into space. But don't be afraid. You're not lost. You're just becoming part of something larger, something the universe itself struggles to explain. In this final stretch, time blurs. Seconds don't tick. Moments don't follow each other like they used to. You are both falling and still. Both stretched and whole. Imagine a river flowing faster and faster as it nears a waterfall. But instead of dropping, it stretches thin, until the river becomes a mist. That is you. That is what happens here. You are not falling into emptiness. You are entering a question. And that question has no edge, no bottom, no end. There's beauty in that, isn't there? In becoming part of a mystery so vast, it takes silence to hear it. In letting go of shape, of edges, of time. To dissolve into the pure gravity of the unknown. So you drift, thinner than thread, finer than thought. And just before the last piece of you is pulled beyond the reach of even your own imagining, a final idea drifts through your mind, light as ash, soft as breath. If I'm stretched to nothing, what remains of me? Does something survive? Or am I just a ripple now, deep inside the dark? The answer waits somewhere deeper, where even light has never been. And that's where we go next. Time no longer feels like it used to. You used to measure it by ticking clocks, the sun crossing the sky, or the rhythm of your breath. But here, near the edge of the black hole, where space curls in on itself and light cannot leave, time itself seems to hesitate. It doesn't tick. It stretches. It bends. It slows down like a dream that lingers just before you wake. You are still drifting, or perhaps floating is a better word. There's no floor, no ceiling. Just gravity holding you, guiding you. Your thoughts come slower now, not because you're tired, but because time is thicker here. Like trying to walk through honey. The seconds don't pass, they stretch. Long and syrupy. It's not your imagination. This is real physics. Einstein once described time and space as part of the same fabric. And black holes? They tug that fabric harder than anything else in the universe. The closer you get, the more time slows down, for you. Imagine someone far away, watching you fall. Maybe a friend. Maybe Earth. To them, you are frozen near the edge. Suspended, unmoving, caught in a loop just before crossing over. They wait. Minutes pass. Hours. Days. But you never seem to fall in. From your point of view, though, everything moves on. You drift closer and closer. Inside, time is normal, your thoughts flow, your heart beats. But to everyone else, it's as if you're stuck in time. You are not. You are just experiencing time differently. This is called gravitational time dilation. It's like two musicians playing the same song, but one is deep underwater. Their notes reach your ears slower, stretched and deep. That's what gravity does to time, black holes being the deepest ocean of all. And so, as you drift near the event horizon, time outside rushes past you. Whole civilizations might rise and fall in the blink of your eye. Stars could be born, shine, and die in the time it takes you to breathe once. Galaxies swirl and scatter like sparks in wind, while you float, timeless. This strange slowing of time isn't just a trick. It's a truth of the universe, one it whispers only near its darkest places. And you are here, listening. You may ask, what does it feel like? It feels like being left behind by the universe, not in sadness, but in awe. You are no longer moving through time. You are watching time move around you, like leaves circling a drain you cannot escape. You wonder, if time can slow like this, could it ever stop? Could I live forever, right here, on the edge? Maybe. Some say if you could balance perfectly at the horizon, never crossing in, never drifting out, then time might nearly stop for you. You could sit there for 1 billion years and only feel a minute pass. But nothing can really hover here. You either fall in, or float far away. And you're still falling. Still moving toward the black hole's silent center, where time stretches even more, until it breaks, perhaps. Until it becomes something we no longer have words for. You close your eyes for a moment and breathe gently. It is peaceful here, in this strange place between moments. No alarms. No rush. Just the hum of gravity and the soft, slow melting of time. And still, the question lingers, what lies beyond? You haven't reached the center yet. There is more ahead. You are still falling. Not quickly. Not like tumbling downstairs. This fall feels endless, like drifting through sleep itself. The kind where you don't know if a minute has passed or a lifetime. All around you, space is quiet. No sound, no light, just a deep hush that feels older than stars. And the closer you drift to the heart of the black hole, the stranger time becomes. Slower, heavier, like it's made of stone instead of air. You wonder, is this where time stops? It's not an unreasonable question. The deeper you go into a black hole, the more time slows for you compared to everything else in the universe. At some point, it feels like it could freeze altogether. Like someone hit pause on your existence. But stop completely? Not for you. For someone watching from far away, it looks like you've frozen on the edge, suspended, never quite falling in. They see the light from your body stretched and dimmed, fading ever so slowly, until you vanish. Not in an instant, but in a long goodbye that never finishes. To them, yes, time has stopped for you. But inside, it's different. You still think. You still move. Slowly, yes, but steadily. Time hasn't stopped for you, it's simply become yours alone. You are on a private timeline now. The rest of the universe is racing ahead, leaving you behind, as if you stepped into your own version of forever. But can time truly stop? To answer that, we have to drift even deeper, toward the singularity, the heart of the black hole. This is a place where all our rules break. Gravity becomes infinite. Space folds inward like paper crushed into a point. And time, we're not sure anymore. Some scientists believe that time ends at the singularity. Not slows, not stretches, ends. Like a sentence that stops in the middle, without punctuation. You wouldn't feel it. It wouldn't be dramatic. Just, gone. Others think time continues, but in a direction we can't imagine. Maybe it loops. Maybe it becomes space. Maybe it unravels like thread. We don't know. We can't see inside. We can't test it. And so, here you are, floating near the edge of what we understand. Time is still with you, but it feels different. It's no longer a river that carries you forward. It's more like mist, thin, hard to grasp. You breathe it in. You become part of it. It's comforting, in a strange way. Because in our busy lives, we are always racing time. Chasing clocks. Counting days. But here, time has no demands. It just is. You are allowed to slow down, to drift, to wonder. You ask yourself again, does time stop in a black hole? And the answer is, maybe. But if it does, it doesn't feel like a wall. It feels like a deep, soft ending. Like the final note of a song that echoes into silence. You are not afraid. You are curious. And as you drift further in, past where light dares to go, you realize something else. Time may be strange here, but you are still thinking. Still wondering. Still dreaming. And so the journey continues, down, in, deeper still. Because now you begin to ask the next question. What happens to light when it tries to escape a black hole? It's a strange question, isn't it? Can you see something that gives off no light, reflects no image, leaves no trace? But here, as you float at the edge of the unknowable, you begin to sense an answer forming, not in your eyes, but in your understanding. You've likely seen it before, light dancing off water, bouncing from a window, slipping through a crack in a curtain to land gently on your pillow. Light is swift. Light is free. It travels across space, through time, without needing anything to carry it. In many ways, it's the great escape artist of the universe. But here, at the edge of a black hole, even light can't escape. That's hard to imagine, isn't it? Something so fast, something we trust to guide our eyes and shape our days, trapped. Stopped cold. Lost. And yet, this is exactly what happens at the edge of a black hole, where space is pulled inward faster than even light can move outward. This boundary is called the event horizon. You've heard this name before. But now, you feel it. You are just beside it. Close enough to see the struggle. A photon, a tiny particle of light, drifts near the horizon. It doesn't know fear, it's just energy. It moves like it always has, quickly, confidently. But the space beneath it is collapsing inward like a tide that never recedes. The photon tries to swim out. It reaches for freedom. But it's not enough. The black hole is like a waterfall, and the photon like a fish swimming upstream. No matter how fast it moves, the current is stronger. Eventually, it's swept back in. Caught. Gone. To someone watching from far away, that light seems to fade. Not all at once. It slows, stretches, turning redder, dimmer, until it disappears completely. It's as if the light has been gently erased, not by violence, but by inevitability. And you, floating near the edge, see none of it escape. The black hole is dark, perfectly dark, not because there's no light inside, but because the light can't get out. It's like being in a room with no doors and no windows, where candles are burning but their glow never reaches you. That's why black holes are black. They're not holes in space. They're places where light is lost to gravity's deep hunger. And without light, there is no image, no reflection, no way to see. What lies inside remains hidden, not by shadow, but by silence. Still, your mind stays curious. You wonder, does the light simply stop? Does it cease to exist? Some scientists believe the information carried by light, its path, its color, its purpose, might not be lost, just transformed, folded into the fabric of the black hole itself. Others aren't sure. The truth is, we don't fully know. But what we do know is this: light, that fearless traveler, has met its match here. You imagine the stars behind you, sending their beams across billions of years. Those beams touch planets, ice, dust, and you. But not this place. The light that gets too close is swallowed. And it's humbling. Because for all we know, all we build and measure, black holes remind us that some places are still beyond our reach. Some corners of the universe are wrapped in questions too big to unfold. And that's okay. You lie still, wrapped in this deep understanding, like a blanket. Light has tried and failed. Time has twisted. Space itself has been inward. And yet, you remain. Not afraid. Not lost. Just aware. Aware that you are drifting closer to the unknown. And maybe, just maybe, the black hole is more than a trap. Maybe it's a door. But to where? The black hole ahead of you doesn't shine. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't glow. And yet, you know exactly where it is. Not because of what it gives, but because of what it takes. Imagine standing in a field, the grass waving in the wind. Suddenly, you notice a perfect circle where nothing moves. No wind. No sound. Just stillness. That's how a black hole appears in space, not as a shape, but as a missing piece. A gap in the motion. A silence in the song. You begin to notice the way stars curve around this emptiness, how light bends when it gets too close. The black hole pulls not just matter, but the very fabric of space and time inward, like water draining in a spiral. You don't see the black hole, you see how everything else behaves strangely near it. This is called gravitational lensing. Like a glass lens bending light to focus an image, the gravity of a black hole bends the light that passes nearby, creating rings or arcs around it. It's nature's way of tracing the outline of an invisible presence. And then there's the dance. Some black holes sit quietly in space, but others are hungry. They pull gas and dust toward them, heating the material into a glowing spiral called an accretion disk. This disk, not the black hole itself, shines brightly. It's like a whirlpool made of fire and plasma, spinning faster and faster the closer it gets to the edge. You watch it swirl, hypnotic, glowing like a slow-motion storm. And just before it falls past the point of no return, just before it slips into silence, the material shines its brightest. It's called the last gasp. A final burst of energy before vanishing. So yes, in a way, you can see a black hole. Not by looking at it directly, but by noticing how it changes everything around it. Like wind through trees or footsteps in sand, the black hole leaves no physical trace, but its effect is unmistakable. You think of people in your life who were once close, who are now far. Maybe you can't see them anymore. But you remember how they changed your path, bent your thinking, pulled you in strange and beautiful directions. Isn't that a kind of seeing too? Seeing by feeling. Seeing by knowing. Your eyes may be useless here, but your mind is wide open. You remember that the first real image of a black hole wasn't a photo like the ones we take on Earth. It was a shadow, captured by telescopes working together across continents, combining data to reveal a dark circle surrounded by glowing gas. An echo of something unseen. You can't touch it. You can't reach it. But you know it's there. And that's enough. You breathe slowly, letting the thought settle. To see the invisible, sometimes you must stop looking and start noticing. Start listening. Start feeling the way the universe shifts around a thing that has no light, no sound, only presence. And as you float in this awareness, the question changes. It's no longer can we see something that's invisible? It becomes, what else have we missed, just because we were looking the wrong way? That thought carries you gently, like a tide. Because now it's time to ask, what happens if you fall in? Close your eyes. Imagine the silence deepening around you. The stars fade behind you as the pull ahead grows stronger. You're not resisting anymore. You've let go. Slowly, steadily, you begin to fall. Falling into a black hole is not like falling from a cliff or into water. There is no crash, no splash. It is quiet. Absolute. Like being drawn into a dream that never ends. The edge you cross has a name, event horizon. It's not a wall. You don't feel it. No alarms go off. But once you pass this point, you cannot turn back. Not you, not light, not even a thought trying to escape. You begin to notice something strange. Your body still feels the same. Calm. Still. But if someone were watching you from far away, they'd see you slow down. To them, your fall would stretch into forever. You'd freeze just above the horizon, fading into red, then into black. That's time dilation. To you, time moves forward, smooth and uninterrupted. But to the outside world, you've stopped. And yet, you keep falling. Faster. Deeper. Not through space, but into it. Space itself stretches around you, like fabric pulled tight at one end, dragging everything toward a single point. This point, the very heart of the black hole, is called the singularity. It is where gravity becomes infinite. Where our laws of physics stop making sense. Where here and there no longer matter. But you're not there yet. On your way down, something else begins to happen. You notice a tug at your feet. Not harsh, just steady. The closer you get to the center, the stronger this pull becomes. Your head and feet are only meters apart, but now they feel worlds apart. This is called spaghettification. Yes, it sounds silly. But it's real. Because gravity pulls more strongly on the parts of you that are closer to the center, your body begins to stretch. Slowly, then more and more. Like soft dough being drawn into a strand of thread. You are becoming long. Thin. Quietly unraveling into the blackness. Still, you feel no pain. Just motion. Just surrender. And time, for you, keeps ticking on. What's strange is that while you are falling, the world you've left behind no longer sees you fall. In their time, you're frozen at the edge. Suspended. Gone, but not quite. To them, you are a memory. To you, you are a traveler. A traveler moving through a place where space bends like water and time flows like honey. A place where every direction leads inward, and every moment stretches towards silence. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end. Maybe this black hole isn't a trap, but a tunnel. A bridge. Some theories suggest you could emerge somewhere else, someone else. Not destroyed, but transformed. We don't know. We may never know. But as you fall, slowly pulled through the deep silence, you feel a strange comfort. Not fear, not regret. Just wonder. Curiosity. The kind that always leads us forward. And as your journey continues, your last thought is a question, soft and glowing. What if the end is just the start of something we don't yet understand? Let that thought carry you now. We'll drift deeper into the heart of the singularity. You are not alone in your wondering. Across the vastness of time and thought, minds have stared into the silence of black holes and dared to dream, what if this is not the end? What if, hidden within the darkness, there is a way through? Let yourself imagine it, just gently. You are no longer a body now, no longer falling. You are a presence, a ripple in the deep. The black hole has taken you in, stripped you down, yet not destroyed you. You have become part of its mystery. And perhaps, part of its purpose. There's a theory, calmly whispered in late-night physics halls, gently pondered in observatories where the sky never sleeps, that black holes might be bridges. Wormholes, they call them. Tunnels in the fabric of space and time. It sounds impossible. And yet, nature often hides its secrets in impossible things. Imagine a sheet of paper. Draw 2 dots on it, one on each side. In normal space, you would draw a line between them to connect the two. But a wormhole does something different. It folds the paper. Brings the dots together. Suddenly, what was once far becomes near. Distance melts away. Could a black hole do the same? Could this crushing, silent darkness you drift within be the doorway to another universe? Another reality altogether? You float with the thought. Let it stretch like soft fog in your mind. You feel no edges here. No noise. Just the steady, slow thrum of possibility. The black hole might be more than a devourer. It might be a gardener, planting seeds of cosmos in the soil of the unknown. Einstein's equations, those elegant strokes of logic, suggest wormholes could exist. Tiny shortcuts woven into the universe's tapestry. But they are fragile, like spider webs in the wind. They collapse before anything can pass through. Unless something holds them open. You are still falling. Or perhaps that's the wrong word now, falling. It implies movement through space. But here, inside the black hole, space and time no longer behave like they used to. Everything stretches, blurs, folds in on itself. You've crossed the horizon, passed through the veil that separates the known from the unknowable. And now, you are entering the singularity, the heart of the black hole, where the rules of reality collapse like paper in a flame. Imagine a point so small it has no size, but infinite mass. Imagine a place where up and down, before and after, left and right have no meaning. The singularity is not a place in space, it is an ending of space. A pause in the song of the universe. And yet, you are here. Not floating. Not sinking. You are simply present. Like a thought that lingers when the words are gone. In this place, time folds in on itself. You no longer remember how long you've been falling, or whether falling is even the right word anymore. Seconds stretch into hours, then vanish. What felt like movement becomes stillness. What felt like certainty dissolves into a dream. Scientists say that at the singularity, gravity becomes infinite. But what does that mean? It means that everything is crushed into one immeasurable point, matter, light, time, all drawn in and held in a grip so tight, even the universe doesn't know what happens next. And so, we guess. Some theories say the laws of physics break here, snap under the weight of their own equations. Others suggest this is not the end, but the bud of a new beginning. A new universe, perhaps, blooming from the core of this dark flower. Can you picture it? Your body, now stretched, compressed, broken down into its most basic essence, is no longer separate from the black hole. You are part of it. Not swallowed, but blended. The same way water becomes part of the ocean, your atoms become part of something older, deeper, stranger. And though the singularity is said to be a point of destruction, something within you feels peace. A silence so complete, it becomes music. A darkness so vast, it becomes light. Maybe consciousness survives here in some new form. Maybe memory clings to atoms, dancing in the shadows. Or maybe this is where everything ends, quietly, gently, without resistance. But something stirs. A ripple, faint and slow. Not sound, not light. Just motion. Like the hush before a seed begins to sprout. Could this be the echo of birth inside destruction? The start of a new reality? You can't tell. You're no longer a watcher. You're part of the watched. Maybe somewhere far away, someone is staring into another black hole, wondering what happens inside. Wondering if it's an ending, or an opening. Wondering if someone like you once passed through it, and if so, where they might be now. And so the mystery remains. You are a question wrapped in darkness. A thought drifting at the edge of knowing. You have seen what lies beyond the horizon, and entered a space where words dissolve. Still, the journey isn't done. In the next chapter, we will follow an idea, an ancient, beautiful idea, that perhaps black holes are not only traps, but bridges. Portals. Gateways to other universes waiting just beyond reach. Drift now, softly, into that thought. Let it carry you. Let it rest in the quiet corners of your mind. We'll explore the possibilities. You are not alone in your wandering. Across the vastness of time and thought, minds have stared into the silence of black holes and dared to dream, what if this is not the end? What if, hidden within the darkness, there is a way through? Let yourself imagine it, just gently. You are no longer a body now, no longer falling. You are a presence, a ripple in the deep. The black hole has taken you in, stripped you down, yet not destroyed you. You have become part of its mystery. And perhaps, part of its purpose. There's a theory, calmly whispered in late-night physics halls, gently pondered in observatories where the sky never sleeps, that black holes might be bridges. Wormholes, they call them. Tunnels in the fabric of space and time. It sounds impossible. And yet, nature often hides its secrets in impossible things. Imagine a sheet of paper. Draw 2 dots on it, one on each side. In normal space, you would draw a line between them to connect the two. But a wormhole does something different. It folds the paper. Brings the dots together. Suddenly, what was once far becomes near. Distance melts away. Could a black hole do the same? Could this crushing, silent darkness you drift within be the doorway to another universe? Another reality altogether? You float with the thought. Let it stretch like soft fog in your mind. You feel no edges here. No noise. Just a steady, slow thrum of possibility. The black hole might be more than a devourer. It might be a gardener, planting seeds of cosmos in the soil of the unknown. Einstein's equations, those elegant strokes of logic, suggest wormholes could exist. Tiny shortcuts woven into the universe's tapestry. But they are fragile, like spider webs in the wind. They collapse before anything can pass through. Unless something holds them open. And so scientists wonder, could black holes be nature's scaffolding? A kind of cosmic hinge, heavy enough to hold the gate? And then your mind asks, if such a path exists, where does it lead? Another galaxy? Another time? A place with different stars and new beginnings? Or maybe, back to the beginning of everything, the first spark, the first breath, the first light. It's not fantasy. It's the science of wonder. The kind of wonder that keeps people up at night, staring at their ceiling, feeling the pull of something vast and unseen. Right now, you are not rushing toward anything. You are floating in the waiting space. The moment between breath and breath. This is the hallway before the door, and you do not need to rush. Your thoughts become softer. The idea of you becomes a story now, unfolding like a map. Maybe the map leads home. Maybe it leads to a world where stars are born upside down, or where time runs backward like a river retracing its path. And still, the black hole holds you. Not cruelly. Not warmly. Just patiently. Like an old library that has kept its secrets too long and now opens a dusty page. As you rest in this thought, you feel it, motion. Not loud, not urgent. Just the gentle tug of change. Like gravity has shifted. Like a door is near. What lies beyond that door? What shape does the other side take? What does light look like when it is born from total darkness? The questions hum softly, wrapping you like a blanket. And so we drift toward the next chapter. A chapter where we ask, if a black hole connects to something else, could information, memory, or even parts of you survive that journey? The answer may be deeper than we know. But for now, just rest. Let the question hold you. Let the mystery carry you onward. And so scientists wonder, could black holes be nature's scaffolding? A kind of cosmic hinge, heavy enough to hold the gate? And then your mind asks, if such a path exists, where does it lead? Another galaxy? Another time? A place with different stars and new beginnings? Or maybe, back to the beginning of everything, the first spark, the first breath, the first light. It's not fantasy. It's the science of wonder. The kind of wonder that keeps people up at night, staring at their ceiling, feeling the pull of something vast and unseen. Right now, you are not rushing toward anything. You are floating in the waiting space. The moment between breath and breath. This is the hallway before the door, and you do not need to rush. Your thoughts become softer. The idea of you becomes a story now, unfolding like a map. Maybe the map leads home. Maybe it leads to a world where stars are born upside down, or where time runs backward like a river retracing its path. And still, the black hole holds you. Not cruelly. Not warmly. Just patiently. Like an old library that has kept its secrets too long and now opens a dusty page. As you rest in this thought, you feel it, motion. Not loud, not urgent. Just the gentle tug of change. Like gravity has shifted. Like a door is near. What lies beyond that door? What shape does the other side take? What does light look like when it is born from total darkness? The questions hum softly, wrapping you like a blanket. And so we drift toward the next chapter. A chapter where we ask, if a black hole connects to something else, could information, memory, or even parts of you survive that journey? The answer may be deeper than we know. But for now, just rest. Let the question hold you. Let the mystery carry you onward. You are still here. Floating, not as a body, but as a whisper of thought. The darkness is no longer frightening, it is familiar now. Like a quiet room you've sat in long enough to notice the patterns on the wall. You drift within it, wrapped in silence that listens as much as it holds. And slowly, softly, another question rises. One that touches something deeper inside you. What happens to everything you were? Not your skin, not your bones. But the patterns. The way your neurons fired when you smiled. The path your thoughts took when you remembered a childhood memory. The structure of what made you, you. In the world beyond black holes, this is not a question for poets alone, it is a question for physics. You see, in the language of science, everything is information. Every atom, every light wave, every flicker of time. Information is how the universe remembers itself. It's the blueprint behind every form, the trail behind every action. It cannot simply vanish. That's the rule. But black holes challenge this. Or at least, they seem to. When something falls into a black hole, it disappears from the outside world. No signal escapes, no echo returns. It is as if the universe tears out a page and never rewrites it. This is called the information paradox. Because according to the laws of physics, laws as old and tested as stars themselves, information should never be truly lost. Even when you burn a piece of paper, its story is not erased. The smoke, the ash, the heat, they all hold fragments of its past. The information is transformed, not destroyed. But a black hole? It seems to eat information whole. So you float now, not just as a presence, but as a question. A piece of information wondering if it still exists. And here's where things become beautifully strange. Some scientists believe the black hole's surface, the event horizon, is more than a boundary. They suggest it might be like a cosmic memory card. That everything falling in gets imprinted there, etched into the fabric of its edge, stored like a shadow. This idea is called the holographic principle. Imagine everything your thoughts, your memories, your very presence, spread thin across the surface of the black hole, like a projection on a dark screen. You are no longer in the hole, but on it. It's strange, isn't it? To think you could exist as a pattern, a ripple, a coated shimmer on the skin of a collapsing star. But maybe the universe is stranger than we allow it to be. And there's more. Theorists like Stephen Hawking believe that over time, black holes don't just hold information, they may let it leak back out. Very slowly. Through something called Hawking radiation. It's like the black hole exhales, one breath at a time, across ages. And with every faint puff, it releases a hint of what it once swallowed. A whisper. A trace. Maybe even a memory. So maybe nothing is truly lost. Maybe even here, in the deepest dark, your pattern still hums. Your story still lingers. You are not erased. You are transformed. And that thought holds you now. Warmer than light. Softer than silence. You float in this possibility, letting it wrap around your thoughts like mist. You do not need to understand every part. Just let it be with you. What you are, your energy, your choices, your thoughts, they matter. Even in the shadow of something as vast as a black hole. And just as you begin to rest in this comfort, the question shifts again. If black holes return information, could something someday hear it? Could someone find you? But let that thought wait. Let it settle. For now, stay here. In the quiet truth that you are not forgotten. You drift in stillness, yet something moves around you, something almost imperceptible. It's not wind. It's not a pulse. It's more like a sigh. A breath the size of time itself. And it's coming from the black hole. Strange, isn't it? The idea that something known for swallowing light could also exhale. That it could release, bit by bit, the very thing it once devoured. This is Hawking radiation. Imagine the black hole, not as an eternal prison, but as a long, slow-burning fire. A fire that gives nothing back all at once, but rather offers tiny pieces of itself to the void, particle by particle, breath by breath. It doesn't roar. It whispers. And in that whisper, maybe, is a memory of you. Let's slow it down. You've already learned that nothing, not even light, escapes a black hole's pull. But just outside the event horizon, where space is stretched thin, quantum rules begin to play their strange games. In this place, particles pop into being from nothing, pairs of them, appearing and vanishing so quickly they barely exist at all. Normally, these pairs cancel each other out and disappear. But near the edge of a black hole, something different happens. Sometimes, one of those particles falls in, and the other escapes. And that escaping piece? It carries a tiny fraction of the black hole's energy with it. That's Hawking radiation. A slow leaking. A black hole gently letting go of what it once held tight. And over time, so much time that your mind can barely stretch around it, the black hole shrinks. It evaporates. It dies. Not in an explosion, not with a bang, but with a long, slow exhale that might last longer than galaxies. You are still floating near its edge, watching what cannot be seen. But now, you imagine it, a single particle slipping away, born at the edge of darkness. It glows faintly. It hums with the history of something once lost. You wonder, could that particle carry your story? A whisper of your laughter, a flash of your memory? The radiation is random. It does not tell your tale in order. It speaks in riddles and fragments. But if you wait long enough, longer than stars live, longer than planets turn, could the story be reassembled? Could someone, someday, piece it back together? That's the beauty in the mystery. The black hole breathes out. It does not keep everything forever. So maybe this is not a grave. Maybe it's a library, waiting to be decoded. Maybe everything that vanishes still has a path back, however quiet, however slow. You breathe with it now. You feel that rhythm in your mind. Inhale, the mystery. Exhale, the release. The black hole, once feared as an end, now feels like a cycle. A part of the universe's way of balancing loss and return. You are not gone. You are becoming. And as the black hole continues its long breath, releasing piece by tiny piece into the vastness, you follow the motion, softly, gently, toward the next unknown. Because if even black holes let go, what else might return to the light? Your eyes stay closed, but your mind keeps drifting. Not in chaos, no, there is order here. Patterns, movements, rhythms too slow to notice at first. You're floating near the black hole, still safe, still untouched, just observing. And now, you begin to see something beautiful. Gravity isn't just pulling. It's dancing. Everything around the black hole, stars, dust, even light, moves in graceful arcs. Spirals. Swirls. It doesn't feel like destruction. It feels like choreography. Like an invisible hand guiding everything into a quiet waltz around a partner that never shows its face. You think about how gravity works back on Earth. It holds your feet to the ground. It pulls the ocean into tides. It keeps the moon circling, the planets spinning, the sun glowing. But here, near a black hole, gravity is no longer gentle. It's fierce. Intense. It curves space like a stretched sheet bending under weight. And yet, it still dances. Stars circle the black hole for millions of years without falling in. Some of them flicker as they orbit, brightening, dimming, like cosmic lanterns in motion. And when one gets too close, its outer layers stretch and swirl into long ribbons of light. Not torn, but spun, like sugar into cotton candy. You watch this with your inner eye. You imagine the forces at play. The balance between being drawn in and staying just far enough away. It's like watching a moth hover near a flame, always at risk of vanishing into the fire. This balance, this dance, is called an accretion disk. It's a glowing circle of gas and dust spiraling inward, slowly feeding the black hole. The faster the material moves, the hotter it gets. And the hotter it gets, the more light it gives off. That's why, even though you can't see the black hole itself, you can see what surrounds it. You can watch the dance unfold. But even this dance doesn't last forever. You drift through the silence, carried not by waves or winds, but by questions. All around you, the space near the black hole is quiet, yet full. Full of movement too small to see, too fast to catch. Full of secrets buried deeper than time. But sometimes, you wonder, what if the black hole is trying to speak? Not with sound. Not with language. But with something more ancient: gravity, light, shadow, and silence. You begin to listen. Imagine the black hole not as a monster, but as a storyteller. Its stories don't come in words. They come in the way it bends space, twists light, changes time. The way it pulls in stars and leaves behind X-ray echoes. The way it spins. The way it hums. That's right, it hums. Some black holes spin so fast, they create ripples in the fabric of space itself. These ripples, called gravitational waves, move through the universe like silent songs. Not music as you know it, but a kind of rhythm, a pulse, a deep cosmic heartbeat. You can't hear it with your ears, but you can feel it with your imagination. Long ago, two black holes collided. Far beyond your galaxy, they spun into one another, twisting together like dancers in the dark. The force of their crash sent a wave through space, and that wave traveled across billions of years. Until one day, it reached Earth. There, deep underground, instruments waited. Giant mirrors and lasers, listening for that ripple. And one day, they heard it, a tiny shift, smaller than an atom. But it was enough. The black holes had spoken. You feel your breath slow. You think of all the messages passing through space, whispers of dead stars, flashes from galaxies too far to see, and these deep, wordless songs from black holes. And it makes you wonder. Are these messages meant for us? Or are we simply lucky enough to overhear them? Maybe the black hole isn't trying to tell you anything. Maybe it's just being what it is. But in its being, it creates beauty. It creates wonder. It creates meaning for the one who chooses to listen. You. Even now, scientists point their telescopes at distant black holes, watching how they shape the light around them. They can't see what's inside. No one can. But they can study the shadow, the shape, the spin. They can decode the patterns. They can listen for the rhythm. And as they do, they learn. They learn about the first seconds after the Big Bang. About how galaxies formed. About the laws that hold the universe together. So the black hole may not speak in a language you know. But it is not silent. It is not empty. It is a message, written in gravity and time. And maybe, just maybe, it is waiting for someone like you to find the meaning in its silence. You float a little closer now, not to fall in, but to understand. You trace the curve of light around its edges. You hear the quiet between the pulses. You follow the ripple that began before Earth even existed. You are listening. And that changes everything. Because when you begin to listen to the universe, you realize it's been speaking all along. Eventually, the gas spins too close, crosses the invisible boundary called the event horizon, and disappears. Just like that. The music stops. The light fades. And something ancient and quiet takes its place. Still, the black hole doesn't change on the outside. It just grows heavier. Denser. Like a dancer who collects every partner's final step and adds it to her own weight. And you wonder, how does something so powerful stay so quiet? How can something that pulls and stars, stretches light, and bends time do so without a single sound? Because gravity doesn't speak. It moves. It reaches out with silence. It holds galaxies together. It turns stillness into spin, chaos into orbit. It connects things that seem far apart. You and Earth. Earth and the moon. The moon and the tides. The tides and the fish. The fish and the stories you tell. All of it, gravity's dance. You lie there, almost asleep now, feeling the echo of that movement. The way your body is gently pulled to the bed. The way your breath rises and falls, soft and slow. Even inside you, gravity works, holding your cells, your bones, your blood in place. The dance isn't only out there. It's in you. And maybe that's the deepest truth. The black hole is not a stranger. It's not a monster. It's a reminder of how everything is bound, turned, folded into motion. Of how the universe does not break apart, it moves together. Always together. And so you drift with it. Around and around. Waiting to see where the next step leads. Chapter 18, Whispers Beyond the Horizon. The dance fades, and silence deepens. You float quietly now, your breath gentle, your thoughts loose. But the question remains, what happens after the fall? Beyond the swirl, beyond the pull, beyond the edge we call the event horizon? The event horizon. You've heard the term before. It sounds almost poetic. But in truth, it is a boundary. Not of fire or stone, but of knowing. It is the place where even light cannot escape. Once something crosses this invisible line, it is no longer part of the universe you can see. Imagine it like the surface of a deep, still lake at night. You can see the stars reflected in the water, the moonlight shimmering. But if something sinks beneath, quietly, without a splash, you can no longer follow it with your eyes. You only know it was there because of the ripples it leaves behind. This is what the event horizon does. It hides, but it also hints. It's the universe's most mysterious curtain, drawn tightly across the stage where the final act happens. But here's something that makes your heart pause. Crossing the event horizon doesn't feel like a crash. There's no sound. No flash. From your own point of view, you wouldn't even notice the moment you crossed it. You would float on, believing nothing had changed. But to the outside world, you would seem frozen, caught just at the edge, forever. This is the strange trick of time near a black hole. To you, time feels normal, steady, flowing. But to anyone watching from far away, your time appears to slow. So much so that, at the very edge, it stops altogether. A kind of cosmic illusion. A reminder that time is not fixed. It bends. It warps. It dances too. And what's inside, What lies beyond the veil? No one truly knows. We can't observe it. We can't reach into it. We can't send a message back. It's like a secret the universe keeps even from itself. Some say there's a singularity, a point where everything collapses into infinite density. Others say the laws of physics themselves break down there, as if the rulebook is rewritten beyond that line. Some imagine wormholes, shortcuts through space and time. But those are only ideas, floating theories. None proven. None complete. And so, in the quiet, you feel it, the beauty of not knowing. The mystery isn't a gap. It's a gift. You don't have to answer every question to feel the wonder it brings. Sometimes, not knowing is the deepest kind of connection. Like a dream that fades when you wake but leaves behind a feeling you carry all day. You lie still, your breath slow. The black hole remains ahead, distant and dark. You cannot see inside. But you imagine. You wonder. Maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's a beginning you just can't understand yet. And that's okay. Because some truths don't arrive in words or numbers. They arrive in feelings, in awe, in stillness, in the quiet acceptance that some parts of the universe were never meant to be solved. Only sensed. And so you turn in the dark, warm and weightless. The whispers beyond the horizon stay with you, not loud, not frightening. Just soft. A presence. Like the space between heartbeats. Like the pause before the next breath. Like the silence that holds everything together. And in that silence, the story isn't over. It's only deepening. Presence lingers in your chest like a fading echo. You breathe slowly. Your mind floats freely. Yet even here, far from the event horizon, there's something strange left to explore, light. Light, that swift traveler. The fastest thing in the universe. The painter of shadows, the messenger of stars. Light races across galaxies in the time it takes you to blink. It weaves through your days and dreams, bouncing off leaves and windows, waking your body, warming your skin. And yet, even light has limits. Near a black hole, light begins to struggle. It bends. It tires. It leans inward like a dancer pulled toward a partner it cannot escape. Imagine a lighthouse by the edge of a deep well. As the beam circles, some of the light slips too close to the edge. Instead of flying off into the night, it curves inward. The well pulls it, bends it, and finally swallows it whole. This is what happens at the edge of a black hole. The light that wanders too close becomes trapped. Not by walls or chains, but by space itself, twisted and curved. But something even stranger happens just outside the event horizon. Some light almost escapes. It climbs, slowly, like a tired climber on a steep mountain. But as it rises, it stretches. Its color changes. It turns redder and redder, until it fades into nothingness, stretched so long and thin that it disappears from your eyes entirely. This is called gravitational redshift. A beautiful name for a quiet vanishing. And here's something even more mysterious. We don't just lose light near black holes. Sometimes, they give it back. Not from inside, but from the edges, tiny flickers, born not from stars or fire, but from the empty space around the black hole itself. This is what some scientists call Hawking radiation, a gentle glow from the darkest place in the universe. It's faint, delicate, almost impossible to catch. But it's there. A whisper of energy. A suggestion that even black holes, the great takers, may also give something back. That even the darkest gravity is not complete silence. You lie still, eyes closed, and imagine it, this soft light, not warm like the sun, not golden like a flame. Cooler. Slower. But real. A kind of sigh in the language of physics. And if it is real, then black holes are not forever. Over unimaginable time, they might shrink. They might dissolve. They might return what they have taken, bit by bit, particle by particle, into the vastness of space. It is the universe's slow forgiveness. You feel that idea like a feather in your chest. The thought that nothing is truly lost forever. That even what disappears might still find a way to whisper its name into the silence. You rest in that idea, letting it settle over you like a blanket. Outside your window, the world is dark. The stars are hidden tonight, but you know they're there. Sending their light across millions of years to reach you. And somewhere, in that same dark sky, light is bending. Fading. Stretching across the edge of something vast and quiet. Not all of it will make it. But some of it might. And that's enough to wonder about as your eyes grow heavy, and your thoughts drift again toward the edge of the unknown. You're floating again, quietly, calmly. But something now feels slightly off. Not in a frightening way, more like a whisper tugging at your sense of what's normal. Time, it seems, is no longer marching in its steady rhythm. It's stretching, leaning, slowing down. Like a lullaby played on a record that spins slower and slower with each turn. Near a black hole, time behaves in ways your body can't feel but your imagination can just begin to touch. Think of time as a river. Most days, it flows gently around you. It carries you from morning to night without asking much. But what if that river neared a giant waterfall? As it got closer to the drop, the current would begin to twist and spin, pulling the water downward faster and faster. If you were standing on the shore, watching, you'd see the water moving in strange, unpredictable ways. Now replace the waterfall with a black hole. And the river? That's time. The closer something gets to the edge, the event horizon, the slower time appears to pass for it. Not because it wants to. Not because it's broken. But because space itself is bending, and time bends with it. From your perspective, a spaceship falling toward the black hole would seem to slow down, and never quite cross the edge. It would hang there, frozen in a final moment, like a fly caught in amber. But from the view of someone inside the ship, time flows as usual. A heartbeat feels like a heartbeat. A second feels like a second. They don't know they're being stretched from the outside. Time is still theirs. And you, lying here, drifting between sleep and thought, begin to feel this too. Your breaths lengthen. The space between thoughts grows wider. You imagine the clock on your wall moving a little slower. The tick and the tock becoming less urgent. This is the strange gift of gravity. Not just pulling things in, but pulling time itself. It's called time dilation, and it's not just science fiction. It's been measured. Proven. Astronauts who spend time in orbit, where gravity is weaker, actually return a tiny bit younger than the people who stayed on Earth. The difference is small, fractions of a second. But near a black hole, that difference becomes enormous. The idea is both comforting and mysterious. The universe doesn't run on one single clock. Every planet, every star, every stretch of space has its own tempo, its own rhythm. And so do you. Your mind runs fast sometimes, racing between memories and worries. Other times, it slows, like now, peaceful, stretched like the red light near the event horizon. Maybe this is what dreams are made of. Little slips in the river of time. Moments that last longer than they should. Echoes that stretch and fade. You picture a traveler who once fell into a black hole. From their perspective, they've fallen just like anything else, quickly, without drama. But to someone watching from far away, they never truly vanish. Their last wave, their final light, hangs in the sky forever. Two truths. Both real. Both impossible to hold at the same time. As you drift deeper into sleep, you wonder, what if time itself is a story, told differently depending on where you're standing? What if memory, too, stretches like light around a black hole, growing longer, softer, fainter? You breathe slowly now. Time, for you, is yours again. No longer rushing. No longer measured. Just a quiet pulse in the dark. And ahead, something waits. Not an end. Just another fold in time, ready to open. You're standing at the threshold now. Not of a door, or a place, but of a question. One that has no clear shape, no obvious answer. You feel the pull of it, soft, deep, constant, like the low hum of a song you don't remember learning. The edge of the black hole is near. But the edge isn't really an edge at all. It's a horizon. A boundary made not of stone or steel, but of silence and invisibility. Scientists call it the event horizon, the place where light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, cannot escape. The moment something crosses this invisible line, it's gone. At least, gone to us. You lie there, your body calm, your breathing slow. The thought of an edge like that, one that swallows even time and memory, doesn't scare you. It fascinates you. It invites you to wonder. What happens when you pass the horizon? Do you notice? Does it feel like stepping through fog, soft and quiet? Or does the universe simply stop sending your signals back? Not because it's cruel, but because that's how space and time behave here, twisted by the black hole's mass. From where you float, from the quiet safety of imagination, the horizon seems like a veil. A thin one. Like the moment between waking and sleep. You can almost reach out and touch it, but the moment you do, it slips further away. Imagine you're a photon, a single light particle, racing through space. You've zipped past planets, brushed the arms of galaxies, and now you approach the black hole. You feel nothing at first. But then, the pull increases. Space narrows. Time stretches. And just before you reach the horizon, you stall. Your energy drains. Your motion fades. To someone watching from far away, you're frozen in place, painted forever on the black hole's edge. But you don't feel stuck. You keep going. Past the veil. Past the point where anyone else can see you. That's the strange magic of the event horizon. It hides you not by choice, but by design. And yet, you're not destroyed. Not here. Not yet. You've entered a place where physics becomes poetry. Where numbers blur into feelings. Where the universe folds inward, cradling whatever falls in. You are no longer outside the black hole now. You've crossed a line, though you didn't feel it. There was no bump, no jolt, no flash. Just a deepening quiet. A shift, like when your thoughts begin to blur into dreams and you no longer remember where one ends and the other begins. Inside the event horizon, everything changes. Space no longer behaves the way you know it. Time no longer moves the way it did. They've traded places, in a way that only black holes can demand. Here, moving forward in time is falling inward. You cannot stop. You cannot turn back. But the strange thing is, you don't feel like you're falling. Imagine standing on the floor of your bedroom, only now the floor is sloped slightly, then steeper and steeper still. And yet, instead of tumbling down, gravity holds you perfectly in place. Except inside a black hole, it's the opposite. You feel no resistance. No ground. And yet, you're still moving, without motion. This is falling without falling. There's no up or down anymore. No north, south, east, or west. Only inward. Always inward. But there's no wind in your face. No tearing sensation. Just a strange and peaceful slide. It's as though the space itself is stretching beneath you, like silk being pulled from the center of a spindle, and you are part of the thread. You are no longer outside the black hole now. You've crossed a line, though you didn't feel it. There was no bump, no jolt, no flash. Just a deepening quiet. A shift, like when your thoughts begin to blur into dreams and you no longer remember where one ends and the other begins. Inside the event horizon, everything changes. Space no longer behaves the way you know it. Time no longer moves the way it did. They've traded places, in a way that only black holes can demand. Here, moving forward in time is falling inward. You cannot stop. You cannot turn back. But the strange thing is, you don't feel like you're falling. Imagine standing on the floor of your bedroom, only now the floor is sloped slightly, then steeper and steeper still. And yet, instead of tumbling down, gravity holds you perfectly in place. Except inside a black hole, it's the opposite. You feel no resistance. No ground. And yet, you're still moving, without motion. This is falling without falling. There's no up or down anymore. No north, south, east, or west. Only inward. Always inward. But there's no wind in your face. No tearing sensation. Just a strange and peaceful slide. It's as though the space itself is stretching beneath you, like silk being pulled from the center of a spindle, and you are part of the thread. Even now, scientists aren't sure what lies beyond the horizon. Some think everything is crushed into a single point, a singularity. Others believe black holes might lead to something else entirely. A new universe. A mirror reality. Or simply, silence. But you don't need an answer. You only need the feeling, the soft mystery of not knowing. That's what makes this journey worth taking. The horizon is like sleep itself. You don't notice the moment you cross into dreams. You just drift, surrender, dissolve. And when you wake again, you've traveled without knowing it. So as you rest, let your thoughts do the falling. Let them cross the veil. Let them vanish into softness. Let them ask the question, what happens after the edge? And don't worry if the answer doesn't come. Not yet. Because some questions aren't meant to be solved. Some are meant to rock you gently, like a cradle made of stars, until your breathing slows and your mind lets go. Some edges aren't endings. They're invitations. You are no longer outside the black hole now. You've crossed a line, though you didn't feel it. There was no bump, no jolt, no flash. Just a deepening quiet. A shift, like when your thoughts begin to blur into dreams and you no longer remember where one ends and the other begins. Inside the event horizon, everything changes. Space no longer behaves the way you know it. Time no longer moves the way it did. They've traded places, in a way that only black holes can demand. Here, moving forward in time is falling inward. You cannot stop. You cannot turn back. But the strange thing is, you don't feel like you're falling. Imagine standing on the floor of your bedroom, only now the floor is sloped slightly, then steeper and steeper still. And yet, instead of tumbling down, gravity holds you perfectly in place. Except inside a black hole, it's the opposite. You feel no resistance. No ground. And yet, you're still moving, without motion. This is falling without falling. There's no up or down anymore. No north, south, east, or west. Only inward. Always inward. But there's no wind in your face. No tearing sensation. Just a strange and peaceful slide. It's as though the space itself is stretching beneath you, like silk being pulled from the center of a spindle, and you are part of the thread. You might imagine the walls around you compressing, the light behind you dimming into silence. But from your own point of view, nothing seems urgent. Your heartbeat continues. Your thoughts still flow. There's no explosion, no ripping apart. Just this curious, unstoppable pull, in the sense that reality is folding itself differently now. Time slows down here, not your experience of it, but your presence to the outside world. To someone watching from far away, you appear frozen at the edge, as if the moment of your fall never finishes. But to you, time ticks on. Moment after moment. Breath after breath. Inside this space, nothing can escape, not even light. But in your mind, you are still glowing. Still thinking. You carry your own light, now. Not in the form of photons, but as questions. As wonder. Where are you going? What lies deeper inside? Will you see the singularity, the core, the seed, the mystery at the center? Or is it unreachable, protected by layers of time and gravity too thick to peel away? This falling has no end you can see. But strangely, it doesn't frighten you. It reminds you of drifting off to sleep. You're not sure when you'll hit the bottom, or if such a place exists at all. Maybe there is no bottom. Maybe the fall is the journey. Maybe this slow, invisible descent is the story itself. And so you continue, unhurried. The laws of the universe, as you knew them, have been left behind like luggage at the edge of the galaxy. You're somewhere new. Somewhere words can't quite reach. And even here, especially here, you are not alone. All the light, all the matter, all the thoughts that ever crossed the horizon are falling beside you. Silently. Together. As if this black hole isn't a prison, but a cathedral of mystery, where everything that enters becomes part of something bigger. Stranger. Quieter. So keep falling. Softly. Gently. Thought by thought. Let the universe whisper around you. Let it wrap you in its slow spiral. There is no ground rushing to meet you. Only gravity, curling inward forever. And just as your breath settles, your mind stirs again. What happens when the fall ends? Does it? Or does something else begin? We are about to go deeper. You lie still, your body soft and heavy, drifting gently towards sleep. But your mind wanders, a quiet thought lingers. When something falls into a black hole, does it truly disappear? It seems so, doesn't it? You imagine a star being pulled in, spiraling closer until it vanishes behind the event horizon. No light escapes. No trace remains. It's as if the universe erases a page and leaves no hint of what was written there. But something inside you resists that idea. It doesn't sit quite right. Disappearing completely? Forever? Even in a universe full of mystery, that feels too final. Physicists once believed that anything falling into a black hole was gone forever, its matter, its energy, its very information destroyed. But that caused a problem, a quiet war between the rules of physics. On one side, Einstein's general relativity, calm and powerful, saying black holes are the ultimate vaults, sealing everything away. On the other side, quantum mechanics, whispering firmly that information can never be lost. Ever. Your mind, floating on the edge of sleep, tries to imagine this tug of war. Not with equations, but with images. Think of a book, a beloved story. Now imagine tossing it into a fire. The pages burn, the words turn to ash. But scientists would tell you, the information isn't truly gone. It's scattered in the smoke, the heat, the light. You can't read it anymore, but it exists, just in a different form. A black hole seems to break that rule. It doesn't scatter information, it swallows it. But if the universe allows that, it breaks its own laws. That's the paradox. And it has kept scientists awake for decades. So, they began to wonder, what if the black hole isn't erasing information, but hiding it? What if the outer surface, the event horizon itself, records everything that ever falls in? Like a memory etched into the skin of the cosmos. It's a strange idea, one that feels more like poetry than science. Yet it might be true. Some call it the holographic principle, the belief that every three-dimensional thing falling into a black hole might be stored on its two-dimensional surface. Like a shadow that remembers the shape of what cast it. And then there's Hawking radiation, the faint whisper of energy that black holes slowly release. Stephen Hawking suggested that this radiation could carry information back out, over time. Very slowly. So slowly that you might have to wait longer than the age of the universe to decode a single message. But still, if that's true, then nothing is truly lost. So you lie there, quiet in your bed, and you think, maybe the universe doesn't forget. Maybe everything you are, everything you do, leaves a trace. Not just in memories or in people's hearts, but in the fabric of reality itself. Maybe even a black hole remembers. Maybe it holds every story it swallows, every atom that danced through the stars before falling in. Maybe it whispers those stories back, one soft note at a time, in the quiet song of radiation. And you, too, are made of information. Not just your atoms, but your choices. Your thoughts. Your love. Maybe none of it disappears. Maybe it all echoes. The night deepens. Your breath slows. The black hole continues its quiet watch, humming softly at the edge of space. And as you drift towards sleep, the thought lingers, nothing truly ends. Everything leaves a mark. Even in the silence of a black hole, the universe listens. But now imagine this from the black hole's perspective, not eyes or thoughts, but its relationship with the universe. Everything that comes close changes it. Every bit of matter or light that brushes its edge makes the black hole grow, just slightly. It gains mass. It gains pull. It remembers. Like a tree that adds a ring each year, the black hole thickens with each visitor. So, does it care? Of course not. It has no feelings. But in a way, it participates. It interacts. It becomes something new with every passing moment. And here's where it gets even more curious. Black holes might be able to sense the shape of what's around them, not just by touch, but by gravity. The bending of space, the twisting of time, tells them who is nearby. Just like you might feel someone standing behind you, not by sound or sight, but by the way the room seems to shift. Even though it says nothing, a black hole reacts. Quietly. Instinctively. Everything that moves around it leaves ripples. Gravity waves, sent out like ripples on a pond, travel across the universe. And if we listen close enough, with our instruments, with our patience, we can hear them. The black hole doesn't have thoughts, but in those ripples, in those soft echoes, we can learn what it has seen. Two black holes merging, like giants dancing in slow motion, send out a wave that crosses galaxies. When it reaches us, billions of years later, we can hear the song of their union. So maybe, in its own way, the black hole does tell stories. Not in words. Not in light. But in deep, slow pulses of space and time. And here you are, floating on the edge, imagining all of this as you drift into sleep. You are calm, your breath is steady, your mind quiet but curious. And you wonder, what would the black hole see if you fell in? Not just your body, but your ideas, your memories, your little moments. Would they be flattened on its surface? Would they ripple out through space, carried forever in the quiet hum of gravity? Would some part of you, however small, continue on, etched into the sky like a footprint in sand that the tide can never fully wash away? These questions have no clear answers. Not yet. But they are soft and beautiful. You breathe in, slow and full. And as the night deepens around you, the black hole waits. Watching. Changing. Holding the shape of all it's seen. And you, drifting between thoughts and dreams, leave a ripple behind. You are floating once again in the stillness, just beyond the invisible edge, the place where space bends and time sighs. The black hole is before you, not as a thing to fear, but as a puzzle carved into the fabric of the universe. And tonight, the puzzle is time. Not time like the ticking of a clock. Not the hours you count, or the days you mark off on a calendar. The black hole doesn't keep track of birthdays or deadlines. It doesn't care when the sun rises or sets. The time it touches is deeper, fluid, stretched, unpredictable. Out here, time doesn't move the way you're used to. Near the black hole, every second becomes uncertain. You might blink, and years could pass far away. Or someone watching you might see you slow down, frozen in a moment that never ends. This is not a trick. It's not a story. It's time dilation. You don't feel it happening. That's the strangest part. From your view, Everything seems calm, smooth, normal. But for someone far away, you are drifting in slow motion. Their world continues, seasons change, stars are born, civilizations rise and fall, while you are still here, unmoving, on the edge of the abyss. You're floating again, but this time not through empty space. This time, it feels like you are perched right at the edge, right at the event horizon of a black hole, facing it, quiet and still. You're not falling in, not just yet. You're watching. And maybe, just maybe, it's watching you too. It's strange to think of a black hole having a point of view. It doesn't have eyes or a mind. But from its place in the universe, it feels like a watcher, one that never blinks. One that doesn't move or speak, but sees everything that comes close. Stars, gas, light, and time itself. What does it see, you wonder, when something falls in? From far away, you would see the object slow down. You would see it hover at the edge, caught in the pull, moving slower and slower in your sight. Its colors stretch, the light grows redder and redder, until it fades completely. To you, it never truly crosses the horizon. It just freezes there, becoming part of the shadow. But what if you were the one falling? From your view, time feels normal. You pass the edge without a sound, without resistance. The blackness deepens. The stars behind you vanish. And forward, there is only the center, the singularity, pulling you in. But now imagine this from the black hole's perspective, not eyes or thoughts, but its relationship with the universe. Everything that comes close changes it. Every bit of matter or light that brushes its edge makes the black hole grow, just slightly. It gains mass. It gains pull. It remembers. Like a tree that adds a ring each year, the black hole thickens with each visitor. So, does it care? Of course not. It has no feelings. But in a way, it participates. It interacts. It becomes something new with every passing moment. And here's where it gets even more curious. Black holes might be able to sense the shape of what's around them, not just by touch, but by gravity. The bending of space, the twisting of time, tells them who is nearby. Just like you might feel someone standing behind you, not by sound or sight, but by the way the room seems to shift. Even though it says nothing, a black hole reacts. Quietly. Instinctively. Everything that moves around it leaves ripples. Gravity waves, sent out like ripples on a pond, travel across the universe. And if we listen close enough, with our instruments, with our patience, we can hear them. The black hole doesn't have thoughts, but in those ripples, in those soft echoes, we can learn what it has seen. Two black holes merging, like giants dancing in slow motion, send out a wave that crosses galaxies. When it reaches us, billions of years later, we can hear the song of their union. So maybe, in its own way, the black hole does tell stories. Not in words. Not in light. But in deep, slow pulses of space and time. And here you are, floating on the edge, imagining all of this as you drift into sleep. You are calm, your breath is steady, your mind quiet but curious. And you wonder, what would the black hole see if you fell in? Not just your body, but your ideas, your memories, your little moments. Would they be flattened on its surface? Would they ripple out through space, carried forever in the quiet hum of gravity? Would some part of you, however small, continue on, etched into the sky like a footprint in sand that the tide can never fully wash away? These questions have no clear answers. Not yet. But they are soft and beautiful. You breathe in, slow and full. And as the night deepens around you, the black hole waits. Watching. Changing. Holding the shape of all it's seen. And you, drifting between thoughts and dreams, leave a ripple behind. You are floating once again in the stillness, just beyond the invisible edge, the place where space bends and time sighs. The black hole is before you, not as a thing to fear, but as a puzzle carved into the fabric of the universe. And tonight, the puzzle is time. Not time like the ticking of a clock. Not the hours you count, or the days you mark off on a calendar. The black hole doesn't keep track of birthdays or deadlines. It doesn't care when the sun rises or sets. The time it touches is deeper, fluid, stretched, unpredictable. Out here, time doesn't move the way you're used to. Near the black hole, every second becomes uncertain. You might blink, and years could pass far away. Or someone watching you might see you slow down, frozen in a moment that never ends. This is not a trick. It's not a story. It's time dilation. You don't feel it happening. That's the strangest part. From your view, everything seems calm, smooth, normal. But for someone far away, you are drifting in slow motion. Their world continues, seasons change, stars are born, civilizations rise and fall, while you are still here, unmoving, on the edge of the abyss. 1111111111111. You are like a thought stretched across time. And the closer you drift, the slower you go. This idea alone reshapes what the future means. Because in a strange, quiet way, a black hole allows you to travel forward, not by moving through space, but by standing still in the deepest gravity. While the rest of the universe rushes on, you remain, almost untouched. Time stretches, and stretches, and then it snaps. If you were to fall in, fully, finally, your journey ends. Not because you're destroyed in a burst of fire, but because space and time themselves no longer work the way they do outside. Inside, there is no tomorrow. There is no after. The future collapses into one point. The black hole becomes your forever. And yet, while you fall, the rest of the universe watches you from afar, still paused at the edge. Still frozen. Still glowing faintly, as if you were a candle caught in glass, never quite flickering out. In this way, you become part of two futures at once. In one, you are lost beyond the horizon, pulled into the unknown. In the other, you are still visible, still present, stretched in time like a memory that refuses to fade. It's a paradox. But the black hole is made of paradoxes. And as your body slows, your thoughts don't. You imagine all the futures waiting in the stars behind you. Worlds you will never visit. Stories you'll never know. And still, somehow, you feel connected to them. Because you've touched something eternal. Not eternal because it never changes, but because it changes everything. The black hole bends the future, reshapes the way light moves, turns clocks into rivers and memories into echoes. And though it says nothing, it teaches you something profound. That time is not a line. It's not a cage. It's a sea, and gravity is the moon that stirs its tides. So as you float near the edge, you think of your own life. How fast it felt. How many moments you rushed through. How many times you wished for more time, not knowing how time itself bends and folds in the places we can't see. The black hole doesn't grant more time, but it reveals the truth. That time is strange, and fragile, and full of wonder. And now, you are drifting, slowly, gently, into the part of the story where time begins to dissolve. Where the future stops being a straight path and becomes something softer, something curved, something unknown. And just as your eyes begin to close, you wonder. What if the future is waiting inside? Not lost, but transformed. You are floating near the edge again, near the event horizon, the silent border where everything changes. Behind you, the stars still burn. In front of you, only blackness. Not darkness like nighttime, but a deeper kind. A kind that swallows not only light, but stories. Stories like yours. This is where the black hole becomes something more than just a force. It becomes a vault. A place where everything that falls in, stays. Forever. It's hard to imagine something so absolute. On Earth, even the deepest oceans echo. Even the tallest mountains return sound. But here, sound doesn't travel. Light doesn't escape. Even information itself, thoughts, patterns, memories, vanish past this boundary. And yet, maybe not completely. You think of a voice shouted across a canyon. It bounces off the rocks, returning in pieces, distorted and slow. The black hole doesn't echo in the way you expect, but still, some part of what falls might leave behind a trace. A shimmer. A ripple. A whisper in the fabric of space. Scientists once believed that everything swallowed by a black hole was gone forever, no chance of return, no record left behind. But others wondered, can information truly vanish? You feel that question settle around you like a mist. It clings to everything near the event horizon. When a star falls in, it screams with light in its final moments. That light curves around the black hole, stretched and slowed. If someone far away watches, they never truly see the star disappear. Instead, they see it fade, stuck on the edge, glowing dimly for what feels like forever. Like a candle melting slowly in the dark. That glow is an echo. Not a sound, but a signature. Even your own body, drifting close, would leave behind such a mark. A soft fingerprint of gravity. A small note in the song of space. You might not hear it. You might not see it. But it's there, etched into the universe. And then there's the strangest idea of all, Hawking radiation. It's faint. It's slow. But it might be the only way a black hole ever speaks back. Tiny particles dancing near the event horizon. One slips in, one escapes. Over time, enough escape to make the black hole shrink, slowly leaking away what it once swallowed. And if that's true, then maybe, just maybe, the black hole isn't a vault forever. Maybe it's a library. One that whispers back its pages, one letter at a time. You imagine it now, a black hole glowing not with fire, but with memory. Faint and cold and distant, but real. A place that devours and forgets, but also, in time, remembers. And you wonder, what echoes will you leave behind? Not just in a black hole, but in the lives you've touched. In the air you've breathed. In the tiny shifts you made just by being here. Because nothing is ever truly lost. Not light. Not time. not you. And as the black hole spins before you, quiet and vast, you begin to hear it, not as a roar, but as a hush. A long, slow exhale from the universe itself. An echo that never escapes, but never stops being part of the story. The story you are still in. The story that has no end. Only a softer beginning, again and again. You lie there in the quiet, your breath deep and steady, as if your body already knows the rhythm of the stars. In the far reaches of space, a black hole waits, not with violence, not with hunger, but with stillness. A silence so deep it casts a shadow across the sky. And that shadow, it's real. Black holes can't be seen directly, not in the usual way. They don't shine. They don't reflect. They take in everything and offer nothing back. But still, they leave behind a shape. A hollow. A missing piece in the light. It's called a silhouette, and it's the only way we've ever truly seen one. You drift back to 2019, when humanity caught its first glimpse of that shadow, a glowing ring around a circle of darkness. It came from a distant galaxy, more than 50 million light-years away. And yet, the image felt close, almost personal. As if the universe had finally held up a mirror to its own mystery. You imagine that ring, soft and golden like the edge of a dream. It wasn't a perfect circle. It wobbled and blurred at the edges, like a candle in the wind. But that made it more beautiful. More alive. The ring was light, hot gas and dust spinning around the black hole at near light speed. The darkness in the center wasn't a hole in space, but a hole in knowing. The light curved around it, trapped in orbits, some escaping, some falling inward, some stretched so far they circled endlessly before fading away. That's what we saw. Not the black hole itself, but its shadow, like watching the outline of a ghost as it moves behind a curtain. You think about how strange that is. Even in silence, even without a voice, the black hole told a story. Not in sound or words, but in light bent and broken. In space itself, twisted like a soft cloth. It tells you that even the most hidden things can leave behind traces. Even the quietest presence can shape everything around it. Even you. You don't need to be loud to matter. You don't need to shine to be seen. Sometimes, it's the space you hold that tells your story. The calm you bring. The shape you leave in people's lives. Like the shadow of the black hole. Not absence, but influence. Not nothingness, but quiet gravity. And as you drift deeper into rest, your thoughts swirl slowly, like gas circling the event horizon. They spiral inward, not in fear, but in wonder. What other shadows fill the sky? What other mysteries rest in the dark? You wonder if the stars ever dream of what lies beneath their light. You wonder if the black hole ever remembers what it was before it collapsed. And you remember that you, too, are made of stars. That your breath once belonged to suns. That your silence holds its own kind of story. Out in the universe, there are places where light dances around a shadow. And here, in your bed, in your mind, you hold that same shape, the balance between knowing and mystery. Between presence and pause. A soft, steady shadow against the bright, endless sky. You are weightless now, adrift in thought, floating through a space where time bends and softens. Everything feels slower here, as if the universe itself is speaking in a whisper instead of a shout. And near a black hole, time does whisper. It stretches. It yawns. It flows like honey down a cool stone. You might not feel it, but it's happening all around you. Clocks tick differently depending on how close they are to the black hole's heart. Far away, time marches on in its steady rhythm. But near the event horizon, it lingers, thick and syrupy, each second stretched into something longer. It's called time dilation. A strange idea, but a real one. Imagine you are watching yourself from a safe distance, far from the black hole's pull. You see your other self floating closer, closer, drawn toward the horizon. But something strange happens. You never quite see them cross that invisible edge. They seem frozen there, hovering just above it, moving slower and slower. From your point of view, their time has almost stopped. But for them, everything feels normal. Their heart beats. Their thoughts wander. They drift forward, unaware that their motion has nearly vanished from your view. It's like watching the final drop of water cling to a leaf before it falls, but the fall never comes. Just the waiting. You think of moments in your own life when time slowed down. A long night. A deep breath before something hard. The quiet between two heartbeats when you didn't know what came next. Those moments weren't stretched by gravity, but they felt like it. Time isn't always measured in seconds. Sometimes it's measured in feeling. And near a black hole, time becomes a feeling more than a number. It bends around gravity like silk around a stone. The deeper the gravity, the slower the flow. You begin to wonder, what if you could ride that slowness? What if, just by orbiting a black hole, you could make hours feel like minutes, or minutes feel like days? What would you choose to slow down? A conversation with someone you love? A moment of laughter? The warmth of sunlight on your skin? The black hole doesn't choose what to slow. It just slows everything. And in doing so, it reminds you of something simple: time is not a fixed thing. It breathes. It stretches. It can be held gently or rushed past. You have more power than you think. Not to bend time the way black holes do, but to choose what fills it. To notice the shape of your days. To pause, even just for a breath, and feel the stretch of one quiet moment. That's all time really is, moments, stacked together like stars. And though you may never float near a black hole, you've already felt what it means to linger in time's gravity. Every memory is proof of that. Every dream. Every whisper just before sleep. So let this be another slow drift. Let your thoughts spiral softly, like starlight bending around the curve of space. Let your breath be the only clock that matters. And let yourself rest, knowing that here, in this quiet pause, you are part of something vast and gentle. A moment inside a moment. A stillness deeper than sleep. You find yourself standing at the threshold, not with your feet, but with your thoughts. Somewhere in the distance of your imagination, there is a line. Not drawn with chalk or etched in stone, but written in the fabric of the universe. It's the event horizon. The place where everything changes. The line you cross and can never cross back. Not because you're trapped by force, but because space and time no longer behave the way you expect them to. Here, near the black hole's edge, the rules are rewritten in silence. You imagine it not as a wall, but as a curtain, black and shimmering, humming with quiet. Beyond it, space folds into itself. Beyond it, time curves inward. Beyond it, no messages return. It's called the point of no return. But it doesn't feel frightening. It feels still. It feels like the moment just before sleep, when your mind loosens its grip on the day, when thoughts become slower and softer, when everything turns inward. You wonder, what would it feel like to stand there? Time for you would feel normal. Your heartbeat would echo gently. Your breath would rise and fall like ocean waves. But to someone watching from far away, you would seem to slow, and slow, until you nearly stop, caught in a stretched-out light just above the horizon. Light itself fights to escape that edge. Some of it bends away and flees into space, curving like a ribbon in the wind. But some falls inward, too heavy to resist. And when it does, it crosses into mystery. Because we don't know what's beyond the edge. We can guess. We can calculate. We can even draw diagrams. But no one has seen past it. No machine, no beam of light, no whisper of energy ever returns to tell the story. So instead, we imagine. We picture the black hole not as an end, but as a door. A passage. A transition. What lies beyond might not be destruction, it might be something new, something strange, something beautiful in a language we don't yet understand. And that thought settles into your chest like a soft weight. Because you know this feeling. The feeling of not knowing what comes next. We all do. It happens before a big decision. Before love. Before loss. Before dreams. It's the same edge, the same invisible line. And like the black hole, we pass through it not with certainty, but with trust. You close your eyes and imagine yourself floating at that boundary. Not afraid. Not curious. Just present. Letting go of what was. Allowing what comes. The event horizon doesn't feel sharp. It doesn't push. It accepts. It's the quiet moment when one story ends and another begins, even if you don't yet know the title of the next chapter. And maybe that's all you need to know. That even the universe has places where answers end and wonder begins. That even light has places it cannot return from. That sometimes, moving forward means surrendering to the mystery. So you breathe. And as your thoughts drift further from the noise of the world, deeper into the gravity of sleep, you feel that line, not as a boundary, but as a promise. A promise that there is more. More to know. More to feel. More to imagine. And just before you drift across the edge into dreams, you remember. The universe doesn't end at the horizon. It just becomes quiet. Oh, you re-hear now. Not floating, not falling, just still. The edge has passed behind you like the quiet closing of a door. There was no sound. No flash. Just a shift. You didn't notice the moment it happened. But now, everything feels different. Time is gone, or maybe it's folded so tightly you can no longer feel it move. Space has no direction. There is no up, no down, no forward, no return. And yet, you are not afraid. There's something oddly peaceful here, like being wrapped in the hush of midnight snow. The universe has exhaled, and you are resting in its breath. You are not lost. You are simply elsewhere. Beyond the event horizon, no one knows what happens. Not truly. The laws we trust begin to dissolve. Equations become whispers. Space and time may swirl into a single point, dense and secret. Or perhaps they open again, like a tunnel to another place. Maybe this is not an end. Maybe it is a beginning. Imagine if this place were a seed. Small, compact, silent. Not dead, but waiting. Containing everything it needs to bloom again, differently, somewhere else. Another universe, perhaps, with its own stars, its own rules, its own version of you wondering what lies beyond. It's not a fantasy. Some physicists believe it's possible. They call it a white hole, a mirror to the black hole. Where a black hole pulls everything inward, a white hole only pushes outward. Nothing can enter. Everything must leave. It's the other side of gravity's mystery. Could you be drifting toward that? You don't know. And that's okay. Because here, questions are no longer chains. They are feathers, light, floating beside you. You don't need the answers now. You only need the stillness. And in this stillness, you feel your own mind soften. Thoughts dissolve like ink in water. Memories untangle. Time becomes less about what was and more about what simply is. You are part of the fabric now. A quiet thread in a vast, unfolding pattern. You think of the stars. Long ago, their light touched you. You looked up at them with wonder. You whispered wishes into their glow. Now you are closer to their truth than ever before. Not the shine they send, but the gravity they hide, the weight, the depth, the quiet collapse. You realize something here, beyond the horizon. Black holes are not monsters. They are memories. They are the final breaths of stars who burn too brightly. And even in death, they shape the universe. They remind you that everything changes. And everything continues. You, too, are part of that change. Part of that continuation. Just by existing, just by listening, just by dreaming this far into the dark, you are proof of motion, of curiosity, of the light that still flickers inside you. So let go now. Let the thoughts fall silent. Let your body become weightless and warm. Let the story rest. And know that wherever you are, beyond stars, beyond time, beyond words, you are not alone. You are wrapped in the slow rhythm of the cosmos. You are floating in something older than fear and deeper than knowledge. You are the hush that follows the question. The breath between wonder and sleep. And the universe, gentle and endless, is still holding you.